Take your place in him. Stand in your place in him. Because in your place is where your blessings are. You know, in your place. In your place. I'm going to say this again. In your calling. You know, Paul says, stand in the calling wherewith I've called you. Walk in your holy calling. In your place. Take your place in him. I can't say it enough because that's all he keeps telling me. Stand in your place. You know, when we like Psalm 91. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my what? He's my refuge. You know, if you're not in your place, you don't get refuge. You've got to be in your place in him. People are going through because they're out of their place. Because it's that he that dwells in the what? Of the, well, what? So we out here in the heat, wondering why we getting burnt. The shadow's over there. See, we out here having fun, we think. And you know, there's a time that the desert is comfortable before it gets too cold and gets too hot. There's a time that the desert feels like it's a better place. I just hear God say, not the time to leave your place. And he's been saying this to me for several days. This is not the time. The ark is closing. Not the time. You're going to see in a minute, folk going to be rushing into Christ. See, you can have crises in and out of Christ, but only in him are you guaranteed the victory. Only in him. And I want to tell you something. The ark, it is a closing. It is a closing. And you want to make sure that you're, what? Dwelling in the, of the, abiding under, of the, who is your refuge. You see, I want you to recognize that people, in a little bit, we won't be 10 months into 2012 before people are going to be trying to find church. The explosions that are coming in every area, everything that man holds dear, everything that man has touched and corrupted is about to implode from the inside out. High powers are going to explode. I mean, people are going to explode. I'm talking about diseases that are going to take them out in a minute. Today they get the diagnosis, tomorrow they're gone. You have to be in a place where you have leverage with God. You know, when we used to say power, you know, in the church, the religious is, you have power with God. But today the word is leverage. You have something to plead with. You got some bargaining chips with the Holy Ghost. How many of you know you need to have bargaining chips? You got to have something to bargain with. People have been out in the field playing. They've been out in the playground. They've been doing all of these things. But now it's time for you to have a bargaining with the Lord. You got nothing to bargain with, no leverage. See, sometimes God's easy. If you can't do the most, he will accept you if you can do the least. And the first bargaining chip you have with God, does anybody want to know? I want to know. Is that you can prove you kept your word. Prove that you didn't break your vow to him. From Genesis to Revelation, you got people who are getting it in because they kept their vow. Just listen, you told me this. Did I do so and so? We're on there. That's why tithes are so interesting, because they allow anybody to do the basic thing, the least you can do for leverage. They give you the most primitive leverage you'll ever have. But you're going to need power with God. And you're going to need leverage. You're going to need some negotiating. strategy, something to negotiate with. Throughout the Bible, when God says, if you, then I, that's negotiation. When you, then I, that's negotiation. And let me tell you, even sinners know about that now. If you raise me up from here, I promise I will. 2012 is going to be the year of the pay up. You have to pay up. A lot of people around the world got to pay up on some promises. Pay up on some vows. Because that's all the leverage you'll have to hide you from the calamity which is to come. Be in your place. Stay in your place and pay up. Because God is coming out of his own temple to take care of his own business. He said, my own arm is going to rob my victory. And that doesn't always mean destruction. Some of you all, God said, I'm going to sovereignly move above the systems of this world to bless you and to rescue you. Some of you all, you've been in the grip of the system. Satan has been using the systems of this world to bind up the children and the princes of God. But God says, because you are mine, because he said, because I delight in you. Somebody said he delights in me. Oh, y'all don't believe it. Let's say it again. Somebody say, because he delights in me. He said, I'm going to move by my sovereign power and authority. I'm going to change some circumstances. And I'm going to give you an edge. I'm going to give you a leading edge. I'm going to change the situation. In 10 days, some of you all are going to have remarkable testimonies. So if you got a vow with God that you need to renew, and you need to pay up, you need to fix it. Because, you know, God is the one that, we vow when we in trouble. In hot water, we can pledge everything. In cold water, we mad and leaving. But I want you to know, we're in that place. 2012 is going to be the year of the pay up. You're going to pay your vows to the Lord. People who promised God they were going to go here and do that, you're going to have to do it. Because that's all the leverage you have. And when the enemy comes in like a flood, the standard God's going to lift up is going to be the leverage that breaks you free. That sets you free. But it's pay your vow time. Pay up. Do what you said you were going to do. You want God to protect you, get in the secret place. You want him to cover you, stay in the secret place. Dwell under the shadow of the Almighty. No, in and out. That's not going to work. I'm telling you, God said I'm releasing new wealth and new ideas and new treasuries into the planet. He said, but I'm sifting as I'm releasing because I intend for this to last a long time. Long generation. Say long generation. Long generation. So there are a lot of people I'm expressly moving out of my presence and moving out of my tabernacle because I don't want them to partake of the inheritance of the righteous. Those who kept their vows, those who do what they said, those who complete what they start, those who do not back up on their words. So I would say to you today, we're in the best time to be saved and the worst time to play. It's just not going to get any better. This is the time that God is looking for the serious will of the contrite and committed heart. It's going to get good for some of us. It's going to get real good. In 10 days, there's going to be a major shift in the kingdom. Major cycle of turnaround. So it's going to get real good, but it's going to get real bad. Because there's no middle of the road. There's not any pleading with him. We've missed that window. The time of pleading is over. Either perform and produce or move out. That's where we are. And whenever God raises up apostleship in the prophetic, that's what it means. It means he's bringing his house back in order. He's bringing his people back in order. We always say, getting the house in order. You think it's the church. No, you. How about you? You the house of God. You getting in order. You getting your prayer life up. You getting your worship right. You. Me. Us. Say you, me, us. we're getting in order.